I think that had a lot to do with it. The alcohol bloat in the face, and if you want to know what that looks like, just tune into Stuttering John Melendez.
So Anthony Cumia now has entered the Dabbleverse. I think this was his first show on YouTube alone. Again, I'm not an Anthony fan per se, but he was talking about the Duke, so I figure we'll cover a little bit of it before we get out of here today.
Tune into a Stut Joe show, and you could see the face, the bloated face of dangerous alcoholism, physically dangerous alcoholism.
And prior to this, in fairness to the Duke, Anthony was saying how basically every day before his show, he would go to this little dive bar across from the office and drink during the show and then after. And then obviously he attributes all that drinking to his recent medical issues. I think he had a heart attack or some form of heart surgery.
And listen to him try to speak and how he handles his life. That's a guy that can't handle his drinking. He gets blackout drunk, says like the nastiest.
I 100% disagree with Anthony here. John can handle his alcohol. I witnessed this. He had about 25 beers and maybe something else that wasn't alcohol. This was in Atlantic City because I witnessed this. I could testify to this under oath. He handled it nicely. We did a show after it. I think we did a show before it and during it.
Most horrible shit about people. And physically, he can't handle it either. He's a big, bloated, disgusting mess. So
Not anymore. Not anymore, Anthony. Take a look at his most recent pictures.
Little Stut Joe. I don't want to step on any toes. Uncle Rico, of course. And who are these podcasts? That Uncle Rico show's fantastic.
Is he always this funny?
It's so well done. The whole outline of it is great. With Bob Levy and Mike, it's just, and Shuley he's perfect for that. They put together, like the packages they put together.
See, I never listened to Anthony. I didn't understand that he had this type of dry humor with a deadpan delivery. And I think that when he was with Opie, that other guy, because of the dynamic of the two together and then bringing it, you don't really get his true personality. And this is hilarious.
And the time they take editing and having clips for the clips, it's just so well done. I love doing that show.
Maybe I will watch him more.
I can't think of another show I do with the frequency I do Uncle Rico, because it's just so much fun. And then when I'm not doing it, if I am just sitting here doing good point, Anthony, this show is such garbage. Thank you. When I'm sitting playing video games, I'll have it on in the background when I'm not even doing the show.
Imagine you finally get to play some video games, and the one thing you want to listen to is the Dues Payers show. And of course, Anthony's joking there. That's what makes it funny.
It's cool. Yeah, I just figured I'd look at some of the, why is Anthony ball washing Shuley? It's not a ball washing.
It's hilarious when you deliver something in deadpan and people think that you're being serious about it. And that's actually what makes a good delivery in deadpan, is that people do believe it. Obviously, he's joking.
Compliments. You used to be able to compliment people. Now it's just called ball washing. I don't owe Shuley anything. He doesn't owe me anything. We just have a mutual interest in doing entertaining, fun shows, and sometimes they concern a certain stuttering idiot. That's all. This guy can't read. All right.
So Anthony, in this new setup, has the chat rolling from YouTube there. I think people are even giving him super chats. They don't use baby StreamYard. This looks like either OBS or some configuration of it. It's not a great production. I'll say this. For what Anthony pays for, there's a lot of improvements that could be made quickly in terms of the actual production.
You got to love the chat. I'm like Opie, reading the chat, just fucking fixated on the chat. All right, Jason M., how you doing, Tom?
And I explained to John Aaron Melendez, don't sit there and read the chat. It is so fucking amateur. And the dues paid too. 47 minutes into the show, and they haven't even started yet. Between the long openings no one cares about, just get on with it. That first 10 seconds should be great. It should be funny, not the long, boring openings. And then you read chats for 30 minutes, and then you finally get on with the show. That's why they have not grown at all. I mean, that's the exact reason why, because they're blocking in that.
Jeremy, good to see you again. Jason, another Jason. Thanks, man.
And again, he's obviously keeping in that same shtick of doing a deadpan thing. He's saying, don't read the chat. It's so annoying. It's frustrating as a viewer to hear you just telling people where they're from and their name.
AP, good to see you. Do you imagine that the first half hour of your show is just reading a phone book?
And he's referring specifically to the dues pair as well. I mean, it was 30 minutes of just reading super chats. No one cares that much. And the funny thing is, the super chats are so boring because they don't allow anyone to even have some fun with them in terms of critiquing. All you read is positive super chats from people who are sitting with their mom on their deathbed who's insisting that they listen to the dues pair, or it's from a Marine who's in the middle of combat.
The point is, I don't have to monetize old clips on YouTube.
This was very interesting because I was going to approach Howard about this shit because so much money was being made in the past, including by myself, by compiling Howard's old videos and then putting them on. YouTube would allow you to monetize them. No one would claim copyright, and then you would make money from it. Eventually, because YouTube system developed and they don't allow you to reuse content, so that would stop the monetization of the videos. But if you were the rightful owner of them, you can make significant amounts of money. And I was even anticipating maybe between $1 million and $2 million a month if Howard would actually have complete ownership of his old work and then monetize it properly on YouTube. And you may say, well, that's not a lot of money to Howard or the company, but it is, because if you want to use that money to hire more people, just profit from it, you can. I guess Anthony has old shows. Now, I don't know if they own them or not. I'm not sure. I don't listen to any of the old shows. I listen to old Howard Stern shows, but Anthony was talking about this specific aspect.
To make a little scratch to keep things going. It's nice. And as I see it, super chats and things like that, they're a great kind of way to support this. It's motivating, you know? It's nice. And money coming in is always good. You know, I got money invested. I got things which today is taking a shit. But it's nice to do this and people appreciate it enough that I could, you know, make a truck payment or a mortgage payment or...
I know what he's saying. It is nice. And even when you text people or Twitter them, whatever you do, and just say that the show helps me get through the day, I appreciate it. Trust me, these people love it. They love it. I mean, the criticism bothers most of them. I mean, when I'm dealing with other clients that have this type of situation, they can't handle the criticism. But they'll say, hey, well, look, this 4 people said my show was great. And you would not believe the status that some of them have. And yet they're so focused, hyper-focused on either the one criticism or the one compliment that they receive. So it is important.
That's nice. I don't care how much money you have or have had or used or spent. You like making money. That's what our capitalist society is all about. Makes you feel useful. So, yeah, I did very well. It's a nice thing. So when I hear Stuttering John say things, and Stuttering John says, you know, I saved a lot of money. I put my kid through college. And then he's yelling at his mom to make him a Hot Pocket downstairs because he's staying at his mommy's house. It's kind of embarrassing at 58 years old.
Well, Anthony was referring for when John was living recently at his mom's house, because John left California. He has no more residence there. So he was living at his mom's house. He was working at his mom's house within the state of New York. But now Anthony doesn't even know. John is living at his mom's Florida house right now. Now, I don't know if John's just visiting there. I don't know if John's mom's house on Long Island is his primary residence or John's mom's house in Florida is his primary residence. But I'm sure that the mortgage company, whoever issued that mortgage, is very curious as to what's going on at the Florida location. Because remember, they lent a lot of money to that place, and John bought during the worst time in the worst area. And who knows where that property value is going to go, but it is no longer John's house. It is John's mom's house, so he is living with mommy.
It's a lot more embarrassing pushing 60, sleeping at your mom's house than it is being in your 60s and talking about the fact that you invested and saved some money and you're okay. But that's Johnny. Some dope. I don't even know who this is. Some dope or a couple of dopes. There's so many dopes that do podcasts now.
So true.
Most of them are the only reason they do a podcast is because so many other people goof on their podcasts. They're such complete assholes. And Chad is one of them. Chad's an idiot. Uncle Rico, of course. And who are these podcasts? John, of course. Steel Toe Guy, Aaron. Just a collection of dimwits, numbskulls, liars, cheats, douchebags. Someone, I don't even know who it was saying that I still do coke, that I still do cocaine, and that they've talked to comics who have done coke with me over the past couple of years, I guess. And I'm like, someone brought that to my attention. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Coke. I stopped doing coke in my 20s, not even into my 30s. I stopped doing coke probably at 26, 27 years old, 88, 89, somewhere around there. And never looked back, never had the urge to do it again, never saw people doing it and then said, I've seen people do it, but I've never seen that and gone like, oh boy. Like Christopher in The Sopranos, when he's watching his buddy shoot up, he goes, just looking at that spike, Now,
I never done an illegal drug in my life. God knows I haven't done cocaine, but I've had friends that have done it in front of me. The first time I ever saw cocaine was when I went to law school, and only one person did it. My best friend did it there. Now, I did witness something being snorted by some people in Atlantic City. I'm not going to say exactly who, but I don't know if that was cocaine or not. But he brings a good point up in the sense that if you're an adult, do you ever question what you're actually snorting? Because how do you trust what is going into your body? I don't know what the actual controls are in terms of quality when you're dealing with your local drug dealer. And that's what would bother me the most. And of course, I guess if you take too much, it could kill you and all the other negative effects of it. But his premise was the fact that if you're over 40, you shouldn't be doing cocaine. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it affects the body better at 20s, in your 20s compared to when you're in your 40s or 50s or 58 with a friend. Let's call him Hitman Man. Like if you do that at that age, are you more susceptible to dying because of it? I don't know.
Never. I would watch people do coke and go like, what the you mental? And then once you get into your 30s and through your 30s, if you're still doing coke, I think you're out of your mind. I think you are mentally ill. It could possibly be the most dangerous thing you could do to yourself once you reach a certain age. It's for kids. Coke is for kids. Cocaine's for the kids. It's not a drug for people entering middle age, and certainly not one if you're in the chick part of the roller coaster.